Welcome back, everyone. We just had a private moment before we started this interview. I can't think of a better way to start the new year than to talk to people who think out of the box, kind of the way we think out of the box. And these are the people responsible for iTheatre. This is a local theater company right here in Saratoga. And Mary Jane, got the Jane, that's probably the last time we're going to remember to add
No, it's
Jane.
good. I like Mary.
Right, Hanson, who is the artistic director, and Will Severin, who is the president and CEO.
And a very good president he is.
Oh dear, that's wonderful. And they're responsible for iTheatre. So in case somebody doesn't know what iTheatre is, I'm going to start with you, president and CEO. Tell me about iTheatre.
Sure. So iTheatre Saratoga we're a not-for-profit professional theater company here in Saratoga. I believe we're the only year-round professional theater company. So we are, affiliated. We're an SBT, affiliated with Actors Equity, and essentially we try to think outside the box, do things that maybe other folks aren't readily doing, or classics that maybe need to be
Reinterpreted.
rediscovered.
Yeah, sure.
Turned on their head.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure, of course.
We are back at the Arts Center here in downtown Saratoga. We started out here about 8 years ago. This is our 8th season. And basically, we are happy to be back here. This is our second show this season that we've done here at the Arts Center. The first one was Pontypool, which is kind of based on a cult horror film from the 90s. And
That was an insane interpretation, by the way.
Yes,
it
very
really
much
was.
so.
You know, they're talking about their home base here in Saratoga. Being at Saratoga Arts just seems so natural to me. This really is your home, right?
It
You know?
feels like we've come home.
Yeah, I would
And
think so.
I think for audiences, we'll come back to some of the audiences that we had.
I also
Maybe
think it accommodates the
lost.
kind of work you do better, by the way. The theater itself, the setup on
It's
the
a little
theater.
bit of room to spread out.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Mary, this was an interesting challenge. Again, thinking out of the box, you decided to take on, you might have heard this person, Agatha Christie.
Christie,
yeah, somebody like that, right?
You say mystery, I say Agatha Christie.
Yeah, that's really dipping into the well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Now, this is Man in a Brown Suit.
Man in the Brown Suit,
Right.
yes. And it has never been adapted for the stage before.
Right.
It just fell into the public domain on January 1st.
Got it.
And I've been looking at it. I've been looking at various properties that were coming into the public domain that I can get my hands on and do for the first time, which is something we like to do here at iTheatre. And, after giving it a read, I realized that it had challenges, which may have explained why it had never been produced on the stage before. But I think we're up for the challenge.
Well, I understand it's a novel.
Yes.
And probably very similar to other Agatha Christie novels. They're pretty dense. We're talking about a lot of characters. They go pretty deep on things.
Oh, yeah.
Adapting that to a 2-act play is really quite
And
a
we've
challenge.
condensed it to 7 actors.
Wow.
More characters than that, but 7 actors.
Wow. Okay, let's just tell the viewers a bit about the storyline.
Okay, so Anne Bedingfeld is a young woman, I should say. She's a woman.
Yes.
Who has recently become orphaned. Her father, the famous archaeologist, has passed away. And she goes to London in search of adventure, which she's always wanted. And she is in a London tube station when a man is frightened suddenly and falls backward onto the line and is electrocuted and dies instantly. And there's certain things found on his person and around his body that lead her to connect this seemingly accidental death with a murder that took place about 50 kilometers outside of London on the same day. And she's got a lot of chutzpah. Agatha Christie doesn't call it that, but that's what it is.
Right.
And she marches into the office of the editor of a newspaper and says, "Listen, I want this story. I can do this." And she is given a shot, and it takes her to South Africa on a boat with a lot of eccentric characters. And she finds herself kind of surrounded by intrigue and in the middle of a rebellion that's taking place in South Africa at the time. The Rand Rebellion was taking place in the early 20s. And you see the beginnings of what will become apartheid happening. But what's happening is that this seemingly unconnected two events, this murder and this accident, are actually behind a huge syndicate that is funding this rebellion.
You know, Mary.
And a lot of trouble throughout.
Note to self, if you're going to take a challenge on, you might think about Fred Rogers the next time or something like that. Here you are. This is world.
Yeah.
The
We
world
go from the
is your
French
palette.
Riviera to
that's
London
right.
to Madeira, Spain,
That's right.
to Johannesburg and Cape Town, up to Rhodesia, which isn't Rhodesia anymore, but Victoria Falls.
So you're going to fit the world into this theater.
We are.
Is
We're
what
gonna
you
do it. We're gonna
is
do it
what-
with-
is what you're going to do.
with some
Tell me,
slides. And,
I know you guys. You're very creative. How do you even approach designing a set for something like this?
Well, I think that's one of the eyes is, it's finding the inspiration to do things a little differently. So we are gonna rely on some
Music, sound design, projections.
Sure, of
which
course.
we've done before. And,
Yeah, you
and
have.
It helps people to go
You're really
to travel to another place.
great at it.
And we're hoping for like a little bit of an Indiana Jones kind of spin on it. So
Yeah,
you can see the
nice.
map, where we're going, and maybe even that kind of John Williams inspired music. So.
There's very much this piece is interesting because there is a lot of humor. It's very typical Christie. It is a travelogue and kind of epic in scope
Right.
that way. But the other thing that's really cool about this is that unlike some of our other work where it's really just totally all about the mystery, and there's a lot of it here, and there's a lot of reveals along the way which are very satisfying, but it also has kind of that adventure to it. that
Well,
I
you
feel
know
some other
what?
things
It's
don't,
it's just inherent in your interpretation. I think it was David Bowie that said, we were talking about his elaborate set designs when he went on concert tours and whatever, and he said the most important element in any of it was lighting.
Yeah.
He didn't care if there was anything on the stage as long as it was lit
Yep.
creatively. But you brush past it, but I'm going right back to it, music, because again, you're so responsible for setting the mood and the temperament for the productions that you guys do. Tell me about the music.
So the music is very much orchestral, so it's traditional in that respect, and definitely putting my hand into that mystery, bucket there. But like I said, there's also some humor. There's also that sense of adventure. So it's going to probably have much more of a sweeping feel insofar as the music is concerned. And then the sound design will help us kind of set the place. You're on a boat.
Right.
Well, it's going to sound like you're on a boat. You're on a locomotive for a period of time. Well, that's what you're going to get. So that's one of the big elements between that and the lighting that we're using to really take.
Well, sure, you can
places.
you can accomplish so much with just what you just said. By the way, Will is a composer, so that's what we're talking about there. Any minor ninth chords in there or anything you think?
I'll throw a few in for you.
Yeah, good. Okay, thank you. You said the mood,
I literally have no idea what you're talking about when you say that.
Yeah, we do.
I'm not the music person.
Okay, you've got two chances to support iTheatre, which is really important in this community. And you only have two chances to see this right here at Saratoga Arts, which is on the corner of Broadway. And I think this is Phyla. Is this Phyla? No. I don't know. Spring? Okay, you're going to have to find out. Sorry about that. As usual,
320 Broadway.
as usual, the details are not right. 320 Broadway, and it's the weekend of the 24th and the weekend of the 31st. So the weekend of the 31st, of course, bleeds right into February 1st and
Right.
2nd, something like that.
Right. We run Friday, Saturday evenings at 7:30, and
Got it.
Sunday matinees are at 2 p.m.
I can only tell you firsthand, these presentations are so enjoyable. They surprise you. You're really taken with the creativity, and you don't tackle a project like an Agatha Christie novel unless you really, really know what you're doing. So, really, hats off to both of you. I think it's
good
just
team and a
really
good director.
fabulous.
Yes,
Experienced
we do
in
have
this.
a great director, Patricia DiBenedetto Snyder is our director.
Oh
for this
yeah,
production.
gee, I wonder. I've heard that name
Very
before,
familiar, right?
someplace.
Yeah.
She's got a bunch of Agatha Christie's under her belt.
Yeah, you're right. That's true.
And then some of our usual company members are obviously taking part in this. Annie DeGange Holgate and John
Another Saratoga.
McGuire. So we're really looking forward to working with all these folks.
Oh God, I can't wait for it. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
It is. Look, iTheatreSaratoga.org will get you some of the details because I know you're not sitting there with a pen. iTheatreSaratoga.org, and it's the iTheatre presentation of the Agatha Christie novel, Man in the Brown Suit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks
Great
for
to see
having
you
us.
guys. Happy
Yeah,
New
you
Year.
too. Happy New Year to
Happy
you
New
too,
Year.
man.
See this interview again. You can head to our website. Look, TVOnline.com.